Hello, all of you are welcome to the video lecture series in which today we discuss the most important sustainable aspect of human being, and that is the disasters. So various disasters, number of disasters are there: the cyclone, tsunami, earthquake, volcanoes, disruption, drought conditions where the rain is scarce, heavy rain that is relates with the flood, then the flood having the flash flood. So these are the natural disaster examples. We have to see all over the world the geographical structure of world. Here the continents and those continents, then we have the different countries. In India, it is one of the continent of Asia. So in case of the Asia, the geographical structure where we see the all around Asia, the large area of the sea and oceans, whatever the Pacific Ocean, whatever the Indian Ocean. Then the part of that is related with these two big oceans. In India, the part of the India itself is a peninsula. So what happened in case of the peninsula, three sides of the land is covered with the sea. So peninsular structure of India, where we have correlation of different geographical situation. In part of the north, that is the hilly area, hilly and mountain area. The part of the India eastern part, that is also the hilly area. What was that is the part of the Assam, the Mizoram, and Arunachal Pradesh, and we have to see the northern part, that is the Uttarakhand, that is the what was the Jammu, Kashmir, and Leh and Ladakh. So situation itself, and then we have the inside is the plain area. So the great geographical situation of India. Here, the geography of India, the hilly mountain area, the sea coastal area, then the desert part is also there in the Rajasthan. So a situation being there, and then inside there is the plain area, and as well as the plateau area is also there. So geographical boundaries, geographical situation of India is whatever the all things are nearby that. Whatever the food, relationship between the people. So mountain, the hilly area, the plain area, and then the desert area. Then we have even the Bengal. So there is the whatever that particular area is also Sundarban area. So we have in India a situation of the great geographical boundaries indicators. What are those indicators? What we have? So by which that we have the natural disasters. All type of natural disasters occurs except the volcanoes. So volcano are not here in India, but drought. Situation of drought in Rajasthan. The situation of flood in the Bihar and Bengal. The situation of landslide in the mountain area. So landslide, that is also the disaster. Cloud burst, heavy rainfall, even the avalanche, even the whatever the whole cloud itself is burst in special areas. So geography of that is changed. So heavy flood will be there. So all those are the natural catastrophes. they occurs automatically. Who control those particular those events? Who controls? That is the part of the environment. That is the part of the earth. So earth whole environment itself is controlled. Not to control, they give the environment. So that event which loses the people, which loses the property, which loses the infrastructure, and that particular event is called the disaster. So we have in India the earthquake, whatever the situation of earthquake in the mountain and hill area, even very small earthquake occurs, whatever those not feel by us, but big magnitude, uh, large magnitude earthquakes are also occurs. Whatever the situation, we can say the 2021, that is the Bhuj situation, Gujarat earthquake. Here, the part of the sea coastal area, that is the cyclone. So there is alternately in sea coastal areas, cyclones are there. So now, what we have because of these natural disaster, certain losses of economy. First, how losses of economy occur? If a heavy rain in the recently in case of the Bihar, so what happened? So therefore, the losses of economy and what one more thing is there, the loss of infrastructure. We have the money. We need the money. Recently, the COVID-19 cases, the corona, the pandemic situation. So the economy is to be disturbed because of so many requirements. So what happened? If, for example, if we have need the vaccine, so without money we can't make the vaccine or we can't purchase that particular. But vaccine itself is essential part of human life. To save the human life, we need. So therefore, the economy will be disturbed. So this particular economically, this is the biological disaster. That is because of the virus. COVID-19 situation, the whatever the coronavirus, uh, since we have about to reach about 1.5 year, we have the conditions in certain countries continuous lockdown. So definitely that particular economy is the disturbed. So those are the disasters impact. What are those particular ecological? There may be the geographical impact, the geological impact. There may be the sociological aspect also because of the lockdown situation. So many psychological effects are there. So what about the woman? What about the child? What about the men, which are locked inside the houses? So that particular situation because of the biological disaster, that but because of the viral. So, however, in this particular case, this is pandemic all over world. The COVID-19 situation is there. So, sociological impact, social structure is disturbed, whatever. Then we have the psychological, then we have the health effect, then we have the economical effect. So disasters have the number of impacts. So here we today discuss the relevant of the economical issue. So what about the disaster? So loss of life, economical losses, because so many people were died. Even in India, a number of people died, and those are having whatever the much more caliber and so those peoples were died. So whatever then the situation of the whole infrastructure itself is damaged. So here the loss of life, then the unemployment. loss of livelihood, loss of property, whatever the land, loss of household articles. Yeah, because when we have the flood situation, so those household articles are flood of damage from one place to another. So that is the household articles are lost. Then loss of crops, the agriculture produce. Whatever different crops, you suppose we have the sugarcane crop, we have the rice crop, so wheat crop, all those are devastated by the whatever the flood. Even in case of the drought condition, so what happens in case of the drought? There will be no produce, agriculture produce. So that one, the loss of public infrastructure. So what happened? Here, if landslide is there, so whole mountain area, whole that particular area is landslide occur. So what about the infrastructure? So infrastructure wholly will be damaged. So public infrastructure, what that is the part of the whatever the infrastructure includes the road transportation. So because of the flood, because of the cyclone, so many losses of the roads. Because of the whatever I have discussed, the landslide, because of the tsunami, that particular infrastructure itself is damaged. So change in individuals' road disruption of the social fabric isolation, change in marital status also. That is the whatever the part of the social, but impacts sexual abuse and domestic violence. So that is domestic violence is also the impact of because of the disaster. What happened in we have back to the Bhopal gas tragedy. So that is the methyl isocyanide chemical, and that was the man-made. So because of that, so many whatever all those activities are impacted activities there. So domestic violence occurs, and whatever then single parent children, family and social disorganization, migration of lifestyle changing, and whatever the breakdown of traditional social status. Recently, in pandemic situation, lockdown, number of traditional celebrations were not there because of the cultural aspect. So all those are the part of the impact of the disaster. So here we have the disaster, whatever that particular disaster was because of the pandemic situation. So now we can say the whatever the other things, dependence of life system. One more thing is there. During the COVID-19, the situation of medication becomes odd. So whatever we have seen the question of the pandemic situation where no one is allowed to go from one place to another place, and the medication system of those who are under the attack of the COVID-19. So COVID-19 patients were isolated. So what about the condition? So that is the social and economically the quarantine centers. Then isolation. So no one can touch with each other. The wearing of masks, the sanitization system, all those are the economical impact also. Sociological, whatever they have, isolation centers were there. So medication system, so whole medication system were disturbed because of the number of patients are increased. So at a time, number of patient of COVID-19 because of the disaster of biological disaster. So that particular biological disaster, we have the social impact as well as the economic losses are there because so much money itself is utilized for the purpose of medication. So let's we have. So that is the life sustainable sustaining medication. Here we have the number of antibiotics, number of life sustaining medicines were uh, those were in a very odd situation, the oximeters, the oxygen supply. So whatever that particular medication, so that whole economy itself is dependent on life sustaining medication. Then we have the other patients are also related with that, the HIV, the AIDS, and then the dialysis, the epileptic, the diabetes, or are dependent on the medication control the condition and maintain quality of life. So therefore, in a disaster condition, what about the patients which are having the medication of the kidney disease, that is the dialysis, and then the neural disease, the epileptic, then the metabolic disease, the diabetes. So all those medication are very situation become the odd. So therefore, for example, in case of the cyclone, so what happened in this particular cyclone? We have the shifting of the people from in the number of lakhs of number of people are shifted from one the coastal area to another places. So what about the medication situation of those patients we are related with the number of dependency on the medication? So how to control that particular condition? So definitely even the most one the neural disease, the diabetes disease, so those people require the medication. So how this can be happen when the situation of the disaster? So here, the recently the cyclone disaster. So what happened in that particular medication issue? So that is the now we have then we have the healthcare facilities. Whatever we need certain equipments to scan our body and find out the which type of disease are there. So definitely the economic impact that is on the healthcare facilities, and one more is the healthcare professional. So those particular doctors, those nurses, so those are the whatever during the disaster situation, it becomes the impact will be long and long impact goes on, because those are the in case of the COVID situation. So post COVID effects are also there. Then they also need the money. So therefore, the economic disturbances. So these are medical conditions inhibit ability to function. Then they have loss of health care winners, the hospitals, the dialysis center, the pharmacies, and the losses of power to access home, nebulizer, oxygen therapy. So definitely medication itself is required during the disaster and after disaster. Whatever the disaster, cyclone, for example, medication situation. But because of the cyclone, the whatever those hospitals and those infrastructure is damaged. So what happened to the people which are affected in that particular area? They are shifted. So definitely their needs are needs the money, and so therefore the economy will be disturbed. So we have the different taxes are because of that particular. So natural disaster, man-made disaster, definitely they have the economic losses, and therefore impacts are more and more. So, because of the natural disaster, here are the some of the whatever you can see the topics and whatever those effect on human being. and that definitely affects the economy of India, economy of the state. Injuries, death, one of that. So that is the situation occurs. And, natural catastrophes, whatever the earthquake occurs, definitely so many people were injured and death will be there. Then we have the physical disability. So during the Latur and Maharashtra and the Bhuj of Gujarat, the earthquake occurs, so losses of the people, and as well as in case of the drought situation, so many people were died, and as well as in case of the flood situation, whatever the heavy recently in 2013, that was the Kedarnath disaster. So in that particular, so many people were injured, so many people were lost their life. Even they buried inside the buried under the earth because of the heavy water came back to the Kedarnath temple in Uttarakhand. So in 2013, so therefore the economy of that particular area was disturbed, even the state. So whatever the infrastructure that will be, so here the injured death is so totally death, so physical disability. Then in case of the pandemic situation, the epidemic area, whatever those are the spread of different disease, weakness, the uneasiness, the physical illness, the sanitization miscarriage, sanitation problems, miscarriage problems. So these are also the impact on human being. Then the productivity of health fatigue, whatever there is the health concern after the disaster. So after the pandemic, whatever the COVID and patient, so they have the post-COVID situation. So that is the health fatigue. Different organs of human beings are damaged because of the COVID-19. So that particular the effect. So health fatigue is related with that. Then we have the sleep losses, whatever the psychological. So all those are the effect of the disaster impacts. They have impacted on the various situations human being. So definitely all those situations are controlled, are to be maintained with money. So for money in the government, that is in the form of the taxes collection. But what we have, if suppose we have the industrial situation, so there is in case of the lockdown, so what happened? All industries are locked. Even the human activities are locked inside the houses. So because of that particular touching, or the whatever we are wearing the mask, then the sanitization, then we have very odd situation. That is the disaster because of the disaster. So holy economy impact will be there. So definitely we have let's we have one of the graph and major disasters in India happens. These are one of the biggest. So 2001 to 2010, there are the nine big disasters, including that one. The 2001 was the Bhuj. So Bhuj concerned, that is January 26th of January 2021, a major disaster in the form of earthquake occurred in the Gujarat. So here are the some of the data that can correlate to major disasters. Whatever those, the major disasters occur and definitely economy disturbed. So what happened? Case of the Kerala, the flood is there earlier. So because of that, the losses of the spices, whatever those spices are used in the food, those spices are also the relevant with the medicines. So holy spices area of Kerala was damaged because of the flood. So economy definitely losses. Suddenly the losses of economy because of the natural disaster or whatever the man-made disaster. So there definitely these are the what the graph is showing. Now one more and addition to the what happened to the human being, the health and nourishment, the malnutrition. This is also one of the situation in case of the African country. This one because of the natural disaster. Here in certain African countries, whatever the no rain, so whatever the droughts occur, there is no food for that because of the rain. How grow the crops? What about the agriculture produce? So definitely malnutrition, inadequate hygiene, and this one also important, relevant. What happened? For example, in case of the flood, so there is inadequate hygiene system and there is the no sanitation. So how this can be compared? Then psychological fear. What happened? What happened the next month in the pandemic situation? So that was the fear. What we can do because all are in the lockdown. What about the situation of school and colleges? What about the situation of the students and teachers? So how they can um, correlate with the knowledge dissemination. So psychologically, fear, anxiety, whatever, what we can do. So it is because of the disaster. So that particular disaster is whatever. So therefore, definitely economical impact will be there. Children behavior during this particular situation, whatever the all age group kids, the children, the younger, the old aged, the older. So there is the whatever the behavior. Even in some peoples they have the childish or regressive behavior, a difficulty in the sleeping and concentration, concentrating the play therapy. Whatever the storytelling, these are the educational studies are also discussed. So we can say during the last 1.5 year, the examination system, so those educational studies were disrupted because of the pandemic situation. So whatever this is the long consisting period in case of the COVID-19, but in case of the cyclone that is of 2 or 3 day situation, that is unexpected and that can occur. So therefore, uh, in that particular area of cyclone affected area, all those are part of that particular thing. Now we have to see what happened to the economy. So economy like a ship, if devastation, so what happened to economy will be disrupted. So wholly what we can say is economy down. So from where we get the money, it is very difficult for the controlling of the uh, disasters after uh, situation. So, what happened in case of the cyclone? In case of the central government have added has given the assistance to the Bengal and Odisha when earlier the cyclone was there. 1,000 crore rupees of um, is granted to the Bengal during the recent cyclone. So that particular economy, so from where we get the money, so whole economy of that particular area will be disrupted. So during the pandemic situation, what was that is the biological, but the earth situation, the sea situation, the water related situation, so that is the cyclone, the sea hurricane, the whatever the tsunami. So all those are related with the water activities, the related with the sea activity. So definitely that particular, for example, if suppose we have the Visakhapatnam port, so that was totally damaged during the tsunami attack. So so how we can say that that particular port is necessary for the different transportation, so different sustainability of that particular country. So Visakhapatnam, whatever that city, and that is related with the port. So port, if suppose we have the whole of the port is damaged, even the whatever the airports, so those particular airports are damaged. So how we can say that particular losses of economy will there. So let's we have the economical impacts are much more. Here are the some of the example where the losses, economical losses due to disaster in the crores. So during this one is the data from 91 to 95 and 96 to 2000 and 2001 to 2005. So here we can correlate economic losses due to disaster. 36,000 crore in the last in the 5 years, whatever that particular 5 year situation. And here during the 96 to 2054,000. So how much? 50% economic losses are increased during the during the period of 96 to 2000. And then this one also increased up to 86,000 losses. So why? So this is definitely there will a big losses. This and the present condition, and we have the 138 crore peoples, and 130 crore people recently we need the two dose of the vaccine. So whatever all of you can imagine, if we have the one dose value is about 280 rupees, so all of you can imagine how much crores rupees are required for the present biggest vaccination program. So that is the vaccination program is why because of the biological disaster. That is because of the viral disasters and definitely number of. So we can see from where we get the money. So the biggest situation of the present pandemic situation, and we need 138 crore people must be vaccination. There is no anything that some may vaccinated, and so because of that is the present situation. So 138 crore multiply with about 280 rupees, and then 280 rupees, so 280 and 138 it is a month in lakhs of crores, and then double that. So we have about 2 lakh of crores of rupees is needed in this um, year because of the that is essential part of the. So therefore from where get the money. So this is the one of the economical impact because of the disaster. So it is very difficult to give the natural events. What are those particular natural events? So now we have uh, this is also because of the mental health issues, the alcohol issues, the domestic violence, the chronic disease, and short term. So here, one more thing is there is also the bushfire, severe storm, cyclone. What we have already discussed. Now we have the questions related with the economic impact. Disaster, even the questions are also related with the disaster. So, how integrated approach of a disaster with the economy, with the social issue, with the geological condition, with the geographical situation. So, here we have a few of the multiple choice questions which are related with the knowledge, optation, and so here one of the question: the annual flood peaks in India are recorded month over that particular situation occurs in August and September. So explanation: the question, there are four choices A, B, C, D. The correct answer of August and September. Floods can occur during any part of the monsoon season, but typically during the month of August and September, flood peaks are recorded on a large river. It ranges between the 60,000 and 80,000 cubic meter. So that particular, the peaks are there. Now one more question. Uh, where is the International Tsunami Center located? Here the question is the tsunami itself. So where we we have to relate those disasters with that particular area. So that is the Pacific Sea, Pacific, and that in that Pacific Sea, the tsunami recurrences more and more, and that is also relevant with the Japan, with the China and Southeast Asian countries like the Philippines, the Indonesia, whatever those may be, the Myanmar. So all those are relevant with the tsunami. Major concern is in the Pacific Ocean. So Honolulu is the place in the Pacific Sea. So where is international tsunamis? And however, in India, the Visakhapatnam was damaged because of the one of the biggest disaster of the tsunami. So because of that particular tsunami, here in India, Visakhapatnam was damaged. So here, International Tsunami Center, that is in Honolulu, no answer for New York, no answer for the London, and no answer for the Mysore. Mysore itself is the inside of the India, so there is no description for the the tsunami disaster. International Tsunami Center is located in Honolulu, United States. It was created in 1965 by the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of the United Nations Educational and Scientific Culture Organization. So that is the international body UNESCO, and that country. This is one of the international tsunami. One more question. When did the disaster management form in India? The disaster management it was formed in 23rd December 2005, and we have to see the back to the economy losses. So we can see during the 5 years, 86,000 crores, whatever we can say the annual economic losses. So only this is because of the economy is lost, not relevant with the social, not relevant with the geology, not relevant with the geographical disaster. So that is only because of the economy losses. So therefore, during 2005, whatever that, correct answer is the issue. So disaster management is formed. The disaster management was formed in 2005, 23rd of December, and here the legal that is the relevant with our the Indian Constitution, the Disaster Management Act 2005 having the 11 chapters. and 79 sections that are extended to the whole of India. The Act provides for the effective management of disaster. So therefore, this one is the in because of the economic losses. So definitely the legal aspect, whatever the act was there in 2005 about the disaster management, how we can control, how we can resilience, how we can give the better way to settle down that particular area. So what happened during the in 2013, the Kedarnath devastation occurs. So definitely where a big control of the disaster management act was there, and so definitely here is the what we have. So let's we have the another one question: who released the first disaster management plan? Here, this is also a situation. How we can manage the after disaster. However, any of the disaster occurs, for example, in the Kedarnath disaster, so there earlier so many number of scientists have given the relevant information that a particular area itself of hilly area is the soft one. So therefore, we have not to do uh, the activities by which that particular mountain is to be affected. So therefore, because of that particular Uttarakhand area is soft mountains are there. So because of the softness of that, the disasters occurs rapidly, instantaneously, whatever occurs. So here, because of the man-made situations, what happened in that particular Uttarakhand area, man itself needs the facilities. The facility itself is one more, that is the communication, that is also related with the electricity. So for the communication, we need the electricity. So how we get the electricity as a infrastructure in that particular biggest mountain area of Uttarakhand, and certainly that needs the electricity generation plants. So therefore, in Uttarakhand, certain hydroelectric powers generations were there in the area of the valley of the mountain. So definitely we have to see that particular. So who released the first disaster management plan of India? Here it's Deogoda, Atal Bihari, Manmohan Singh, Narendra Modi. So Narendra Modi released the first disaster management plan of in India on 1st June of 2016. And this plan seeks to provide a framework and direction to government agencies uh, for prevention, mitigation, and management of that particular disaster. So recently, the relief for cyclones were given by so many countries. Also, even the government of India also released 1,000 crore rupees for the relief purpose. So that is the part of prevention, mitigation, management of that particular disaster. So here, 2016, that plan was released by Narendra Modi. Now we have under which ministry? National Disaster Management Authority, NDMA. National Disaster Management Authority, and this one definitely concerned with the home affairs, not concerned with the environment, not concerned with the foreign affairs, not concerned with pollution. Pollution is the activity which we have to see the in my another video lecture series in which I have given the different types of pollutions, whatever the water pollution, whatever the air pollution, soil pollution, a number of radiation pollution. So National Disaster Management Authority is an agency of the Ministry of Home Affairs. Primary purpose of National Disaster Management Authority is to coordinate to response to the natural or man disaster. So let's we have the another whatever I have already discussed. the number of situations occurs and whatever that is the relevant with the how disaster occurs, the natural or the man-made occurs because of the fault of human being. Whatever in case of the in Jaipur, one of the Indian oil corporation fire of petroleum product, and that was occurs because of the man-made fault situation and that disaster, whatever that Indian Oil Corporation fire occurs, and definitely there will be so many losses of people, even the so many infrastructure was damaged, and as well as there is losses of the whatever the sociological losses, whatever the economical losses occurs. So in that particular case, even the present situation of the different aspects. So here we have to see the government, the central government having the planning, and because of these activities occurs. So therefore, a number of losses are there. So economy whole will be down because of the disaster occur. During the situation of COVID-19, the situation of economy was very down, whatever, because no production in the industry. And what happened to the in agriculture produce? So what happened to agriculture farms? Because no transportation, because all are the lockdown because of the that particular situation. That is because of the whatever the masking, the so definitely the economy losses are much more during the disaster situation. Whatever those disaster may be man-made or maybe the natural, the cyclone, earthquake, in case of the earthquake, so many biggest losses will be there, infrastructure which will be there, damage. So whatever that in case of we have seen in 2021, the great, the whatever that catastrophes, whatever the disaster of the flood, disaster of the mountains, and those particular landslides occurs, the heavy rain occurs, then the continuously pandemic situation, and then we have the certain area, the forest fire, and in the coastal area, the cyclone and tsunamis. So number of the natural disasters occur. Even the seismic effect was also seen recently about 5.5 Richter magnitude. So therefore, whatever we have the biggest catastrophe because of those disaster, economy will be fall down. But the government have done a number of whatever uh, the situations which we have we seen. So government have done number of prevention or water mitigations. So here, the whatever the in 2016, and the act was formed, and so these are the whatever the act relevant with the disaster management act, and here the disaster management act have 11 chapters. So all those are we have to see the preparedness, and we have to increase the capacity building to control the disaster, whatever the great role of our space research, and that is we have number of artificial satellites are situated around the Earth. So those particular communication system because of that space research programs. So definitely we have whatever that is also relevant with the disaster management plan, and in which all the department of government are interacted with each other to face the disaster problems. After disaster situation, what we can do, so that's all about that. economic digest. So if anyone want to increase their knowledge or whatever the share, the knowledge that he or she can ask me the question, and my mobile numbers are contact number as well as my email ID rc.chipa at the rate of mycanware.com are there in the website of Suresh Ganwar University. So Suresh Ganwar University, a great opportunity of having the great infrastructure situation, internationally level university, and very high level of human resources are there. So all of you can visit our university, and there are certain relevant courses are available, and courses are from the diploma to the PhD in all relevant disciplines, and all relevant disciplines in the management, in the engineering, in the social, in the law, in the medical, in the pharmacy. All of those are available courses. So all of you are opportunity to visit our Suresh Gyan University. Okay, all the best. Best wishes. So anyone can share. Okay, all the best. Best wishes. All.